Jeremy Deller sees art as a deeply personal and transformative experience. He believes it has the power to shape an individual's perspective, much like religion once did. For him, the role of art is less about reshaping the world on a grand scale, and more about altering the way people experience life. Despite centuries of remarkable artistic achievements, society, in his opinion, remains flawed. If art alone could create a utopian world, why are we still dealing with injustice, conflict, and division? But before we go any further, hit that subscribe button and stick around for more fascinating art in future videos. Deller acknowledges that art serves as a mirror to society rather than a force that can single-handedly rebuild it. However, on an individual level, it can open minds, offer solace, and shift personal trajectories. That in itself is a meaningful impact. While he accepts that art has its limits, he also recognizes that it is one of the few fields where new ideas can emerge freely. It can act as a testing ground for alternative ways of thinking, challenging dominant narratives and opening spaces for conversation. Deller is critical of the idea that artists bear the responsibility of changing the art world, particularly when this belief comes from those who are in a far better position to do so. In other words, the wealthy art collectors. He finds it ironic that multi-millionaires and billionaires praise artists as visionaries capable of shaping the future, yet they often limit their own contributions to purchasing expensive artworks. Collecting art, he argues, does little to improve society at large. While it may add beauty to private collections or contribute to personal fulfillment, it does not solve systemic problems. He also notes, with a touch of humor, that perhaps his critique is made easier by the fact that these wealthy patrons are not buying his work. Still, the fundamental issue remains. If those with immense financial power truly wanted to create change, they have far more direct ways to do so than simply acquiring art. Deller's skepticism extends beyond art collectors to the way the art market itself functions. He has expressed frustration with the commercial side of art, which often prioritizes exclusivity and status over meaningful engagement. He has described certain high-profile art events as being more about wealth and power than creativity, reinforcing the divide between art as an accessible cultural force and art as a luxury commodity. Unlike many artists, Deller does not work within the conventional realms of painting, drawing, or sculpture. Instead, his artistic practice spans multiple disciplines, each chosen based on the nature of the idea he wants to convey. His work includes public interventions, music events, exhibitions, films, performances, and graphic work. His projects frequently involve collaborations with musicians, historians, and everyday people, rather than traditional art world figures. This aspect of his process is essential. He sees art as something that happens in the real world, not just within gallery walls. This flexibility allows Deller to address topics in ways that feel organic rather than forced. He does not set out to create art for the sake of art. Instead, he uses whatever medium best serves his ideas. Deller credits music as his gateway into the world of art. As a young person, it was through music that he formed his understanding of culture and creativity. This passion has led him to explore music's impact on society through film. He has directed 2 significant documentaries on the subject. Our Hobby is Depeche Mode from 2006 is a deep dive into the fan culture surrounding the band Depeche Mode, examining how their music fosters a sense of belonging and identity among listeners. Everybody in the Place from 2018 explores the emergence of UK rave culture in the 1980s, looking at how dance music and youth movements intersected with politics and social change. Della suggests that music, more than visual art, has the power to transform the world. He points to the influence of rock and roll, punk, and bands like the Beatles as evidence that music has a unique ability to unite people and inspire movements. In his view, music has a direct and visceral impact that few other art forms can match. It can spread rapidly, transcend social barriers, and embed itself in everyday life in a way that traditional gallery-based art often struggles to do. Della has a long-standing fascination with British identity, though he admits it remains an enigma even to him. England, despite its rich history and global influence, seems to perpetually wrestle with its place in the modern world. His artworks often examines the national culture, sometimes with humor and sometimes with critique. His 2013 exhibition at the Venice Biennale, titled English Magic, was a direct examination of England's role on the global stage. The exhibition combined history, pop culture, and political references, tackling topics such as Prince Harry's hunting scandal, a depiction of the prince shooting rare birds as a metaphor for British entitlement and privilege, and the British government's relationship with Russian oligarchs, highlighting how Britain welcomed questionable foreign wealth with open arms, raising concerns about corruption and economic inequality. It also took a mythological approach to modern England, blending fact and fiction to reinterpret contemporary events as legendary, questioning the nation's self-image. He sees British identity as a constantly shifting entity, shaped by history yet never fully settled. His artworks often questions the selective memory of national pride, drawing attention to both the celebrated and uncomfortable aspects of the country's past. Among Della's most publicly visible projects is his collaboration with Arsenal Football Club, where he helped design large-scale imagery for the stadium's exterior. Unlike typical corporate branding efforts, this project placed fans at the heart of the creative process. Their voices, stories, and visual identities were woven into the final work, reinforcing the idea that football clubs belong to their supporters as much as to the institutions that run them. Beyond Arsenal, Della has created several other notable works. The Battle of Orgreave from 2001 reenacted a violent clash during the 1984 miners' strike, highlighting the lasting scars of political and economic conflict in the UK. It Is What It Is from 2009 featured a wrecked car from a Baghdad bombing, sparking public discussions about the Iraq War. Inflatable Stonehenge, created in 2012, turned the ancient monument into a bouncy castle, blending playfulness with a deeper exploration of Britain's relationship with its past. If you want to discover more artists who break the mold, there's so much more to come. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and let us know in the comments what you found most interesting and what might have surprised you. Thank you for watching.